When Microsoft announced they were helping to restart the 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant in 2024,
Microsoft appears to be going nuclear, with the tech company slated to start using nuclear power as soon as 2028.
it wasn't because they suddenly wanted to get into the utility business. They didn't care about selling electricity to residential homes in Pennsylvania. They did it because they had a terrifying realization. There is not enough power on the existing grid to feed the beast they are building. We used to look at companies like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon as software companies. Maybe hardware companies if you count laptops and phones. But that definition is dead. We are watching a complete restructuring of the industrial world. These organizations are no longer just businesses. They are morphing into vertically integrated empires that control every single layer of reality required to create intelligence. They are mining their own atoms to build their own custom silicon. They are securing their own energy sources like 19th century oil barons. They are building the servers, writing the code, owning the data, and controlling the screen you are looking at right now. The era of specialization, where one guy made the chips and another guy wrote the software, is over. We are entering the age of the AI sovereign. And this shift isn't just about making better chatbots, it's about securing total economic dominance for the next 50 years. But to understand why these tech giants are suddenly obsessed with becoming energy barons and chip designers, we have to look at the invisible wall they all just hit at full speed. For the last 40 years, the tech world worked like a sandwich. It was horizontal. You had layers. Intel and AMD made the chips at the bottom. Microsoft or Apple made the operating system in the middle. Google or Facebook made the apps on top. And for the most part, these companies stayed in their lanes. Google didn't try to manufacture processors, and Intel didn't try to build a search engine. It was a modular world. It worked because of efficiency. Everyone got really good at their one specific thing. But artificial intelligence broke this model. The reason is simple physics and brutal economics. When you are training a frontier model like GPT-4 or Gemini Ultra, you aren't just running a program. You are orchestrating a massive symphony of math across tens of thousands of chips simultaneously. In the old horizontal model, you had bottlenecks everywhere. The chip from vendor A didn't talk perfectly to the networking cables from vendor B, and the software from vendor C wasn't optimized for the cooling system of vendor D. In the world of AI, those tiny inefficiencies add up to billions of dollars in wasted electricity and time. So the giants realized that to win the race to AGI, artificial general intelligence, they couldn't rely on a supply chain of different vendors. They needed to own the stack, the whole stack, from the atom to the algorithm. This is what we call vertical integration. It's the same strategy Apple used to dominate the smartphone market, designing their own hardware to fit their own software perfectly. But now it's being applied to the largest supercomputers on Earth. The goal is to create a closed loop where the hardware is designed for the AI and the AI is designed for the hardware. But there is one specific company that forced everyone else to adopt this strategy. A company that became so powerful it accidentally terrified its biggest customers into becoming its competitors. That company, of course, is NVIDIA. NVIDIA is the current king of the hill. Their GPUs are the gold standard for AI training. But if you are Google or Microsoft, relying entirely on NVIDIA is a nightmare. It's a strategic vulnerability. You are at the mercy of their pricing, their supply shortages, and their product roadmap. So the empires decided to strike back. They stopped just buying chips and started designing their own. Look at Google. They aren't just a search company anymore. They are a silicon powerhouse. They've been quietly building their own tensor processing units, or TPUs, for years. These aren't general-purpose chips like the ones in your gaming PC. They are highly specialized math machines designed specifically for the architecture of Google's neural networks. By using their own TPUs, Google can train its Gemini models faster and cheaper than if they had to buy everything from NVIDIA. Amazon Web Services is doing the same thing with their Trunium and Inferentia chips. Microsoft has the Maia chip. The strategy here is co-design. It's a concept that is changing how computers are built. Instead of writing software to fit existing hardware, these empires are literally arranging the transistors on the silicon to fit the math of their specific AI models. It's like tailoring a suit, but the suit is made of microscopic semiconductors and costs billions to develop. This allows them to break the NVIDIA tax, the huge profit margin NVIDIA charges. If you own the chip design, your unit economics for running AI drop drastically. You stop renting the shovel and you start owning the factory that makes the shovels. But here's the catch. You can have the most advanced, custom-designed AI chips in the universe, stacked in the most efficient server racks ever built. But none of it works if you can't plug it in. And that brings us to the most physical, grounded, and surprising part of this empire-building phase. We need to talk about power, not political power, actual electrical watts. The dirty secret of the AI revolution is that it is incredibly hungry. A standard data center consumes a lot of power, but an AI factory, which is what these new data centers essentially are, consumes power on the scale of a small city. This has turned the CEOs of big tech into modern-day energy tycoons. They are scouring the planet for baseload power. This is power that is always on. Solar and wind are great, but they fluctuate. AI training runs can't fluctuate. If the power dips for a second, you could lose weeks of training progress or destabilize a service used by millions. This is why we are seeing the nuclear renaissance. The Microsoft deal for 3 Mile Island isn't a PR stunt. It's a necessity for baseload reliability. Amazon bought a data center campus located directly next to a different nuclear plant in Pennsylvania just to get a direct line to the reactor. These empires are effectively trying to get off the grid. They know the public power grid is aging, slow to upgrade, and increasingly unreliable. They cannot afford to wait for local governments to approve new power lines. So they are verticalizing energy. They are becoming their own utility companies. It's a massive moat. If a startup wants to compete with Google or Microsoft in 2027, it's not enough to have a clever algorithm. Do you have a nuclear reactor? Do you have gigawatts of guaranteed power contracts? If not, you might not even be able to turn your computer on. This physical infrastructure, that the chips and the power plants, is the body of the AI empire. It's the muscle, but a body without a memory is just a zombie. To truly understand why these companies are becoming invincible, we have to look at how they are feeding these massive brains. In the old days of the internet, data was called the new oil. But that analogy is a bit outdated. In an AI empire, data isn't just fuel, it's the curriculum. This is the third layer of the vertical stack, the application layer. Think about why Microsoft spent billions to integrate OpenAI's models into everything. Into Word, Excel, Outlook, and GitHub. It wasn't just to give you a helpful paperclip assistant, it was to secure the data loop. When you use ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot to write an email or debug code, you are doing two things. First, you are getting a service. But second, and more importantly, you are providing signal. You are telling the model what works and what doesn't. You are the teacher. In a vertical empire, this loop is closed. Google owns the chip, TPU, the cloud, GCP, the model, Gemini, and the interface, Search/Android. When you use an Android phone to interact with Gemini, Google captures that interaction instantly. They can feed that data back into the training run on their custom chips, update the model, and push the better model back to your phone. This creates a flywheel effect. The product gets better, so you use it more. You use it more, so you generate more data. More data makes the product better. Horizontal companies can't do this. If you are just an app developer using a model from OpenAI, you don't own the model. You are renting intelligence. If OpenAI changes the model, your product changes, you have no control. The empires are building walled gardens of intelligence. They are using privacy technologies like federated learning to train on your data without technically seeing it, creating a customized experience that no outsider can replicate. So we have the chips, the energy, and the data all under one roof. But when organizations get this big and this self-sufficient, They stop acting like companies and start acting like sovereign states. And that is attracting the attention of the only entities on Earth powerful enough to stop them. We are entering a phase where the lines between corporate strategy and foreign policy are blurring. These AI empires operate with the GDP of G7 nations. When Microsoft negotiates an energy deal or opens a data center region in a foreign country, it is a diplomatic event. We are seeing the rise of sovereign AI, where nations like France, Japan, and Saudi Arabia want to build their own domestic AI capabilities because they are terrified of becoming vassal states to US tech giants. But here's the irony. Even when these nations try to build sovereign AI, they usually have to buy the chips from NVIDIA and rent the cloud infrastructure from Amazon or Microsoft. The empires have become the inescapable substrate of the global economy. This has triggered a massive regulatory backlash. Governments are realizing that this vertical integration looks a lot like a monopoly. In the US and Europe, regulators are looking at the kill zone. This is the idea that the empires have created an environment where no new competition can survive. If you are a startup, you probably use AWS for hosting, NVIDIA for chips, and maybe Microsoft for your productivity software. You are paying a tax to the empires for the privilege of existing. And if you invent something truly revolutionary, they don't even have to acquire you. They can just clone your feature and roll it out to their billions of users for free because they own the distribution channels. This tension between the efficiency of these massive empires and the danger of their control is the defining conflict of our time. Are we building a world where three companies control the infrastructure of thought? And this consolidation leads to a massive risk, not just for the market, but for the technology itself. The biggest risk of vertical integration is a single point of failure. In a modular world, if one company fails, you swap out the part. In a vertically integrated empire, if the central architecture has a flaw, the whole system crumbles. If a company goes all in on a specific chip architecture or a specific model design, and it turns out to be a dead end, they can't pivot easily. They have poured concrete and silicon into that bet. We are likely moving toward a bifurcated future. A split world. On one side, you will have the empires, Google, Microsoft, /OpenAI, and Amazon /Anthropic. These will be closed, high-performance, expensive, and incredibly powerful walled gardens. They will offer the premium AI experience, fully integrated into your life, powered by their private nuclear plants and custom chips. On the other side, we are seeing a rebel alliance forming. This is the Open Federation. Companies like Meta, surprisingly, alongside Hugging Face and various open source groups, are trying to keep the horizontal dream alive. They are releasing open weights like Llama and trying to ensure that you can run AI on commodity hardware, not just inside a mega corporation's fortress. This battle between the cathedrals, the empires, and the bazaar, the open source community, will determine who actually owns the future of intelligence. Will it be a utility we rent from three overlords, or will it be a tool that belongs to everyone? The empires are betting that efficiency wins. They are betting that by controlling the atom, the electron, and the bit, they can achieve things that a messy, decentralized group never could. And looking at the sheer scale of their construction projects right now, they might be right. So, what does this mean for us? It means we need to stop looking at AI as just software. It is a heavy industry now. It's steel, concrete, uranium, and silicon. The consolidation of AI organizations into these vertically integrated empires is the logical conclusion of the internet age. It's a survival mechanism. The computational cost of the future is so high that only organizations with the structure of nation-states can afford to pay the bill. But as these empires rise, we have to ask ourselves, what happens when the infrastructure of human thought is owned entirely by private entities? We are handing over the keys not just to our data, but to the very machinery that processes information. The efficiency is undeniable. The products are magical, but the walls of the garden are getting higher every day. The next time you chat with an AI, remember, you aren't just talking to a computer program. You are interacting with a globally integrated supply chain that spans from a mine in the Congo to a nuclear plant in Pennsylvania, all orchestrated by a single boardroom. That is the new shape of power. And it's just getting started. If you found this video fascinating, be sure to like it and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the technologies shaping our world. Thanks for watching.